hurricane season. We got impact windows and doors. For protection, just come to our store. Plus we got tiles to pretty up your walls and your floors. We love to brighten up for that big bad storm. Porcelain tiles, blank tiles, mosaic tiles, a variety of styles. Before teens get right, they gotta be rough. That's why we got the best deals in the whole Bahamas. Hey, hey.
The Whopper with cheese never tasted so good. 100% flame grilled beef, now juicier. With fresh ingredients as usual. And even fluffier buns. The Whopper with cheese. Bigger, better, tastier. Get a regular combo for only $9. Only at Burger King Nassau.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this bring great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community. Also help with the education of our kids in this community and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahamas Strike from the Bahamian Company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
Time now for your access weather forecast. Another dry day around the 700 islands as there are no echoes on our live weather radar this evening. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Live Business, where we bulk up your business. In the northwestern islands tonight, easterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. The wave height 2 to 4 feet. Your low tide, that will take place at 30 minutes past midnight in the central parts of the country. Easterly winds at 12 to 18 knots. And in the southeast Bahamas, those winds will also be out of the east, just slightly stronger at 15 to 20 knots with wave heights 4 to 7 feet. So we do have small craft caution in effect for both the central and southeastern islands tonight. And then tomorrow, Tuesday, in the northwestern islands, the winds become southeast at 10 to 15 knots. The wave heights 2 to 4 feet. High tide takes place at 6:54 in the morning with the low tide at 1:21 in the afternoon. And for the central islands, that easterly component will continue at 12 to 18 knots with the wave heights 3 to 6 feet. And for the southeast Bahamas, unchanged winds there as well. Easterly 15 to 20 knots, so the caution flags continue for the central and southeastern islands into Tuesday as well. And as we take you into the middle of the week, those winds remain southeast in the northwestern islands at 10 to 15 knots. The wave heights 2 to 4 feet. High tide on Wednesday, 7:36 in the morning, with the low tide at 2:01 in the afternoon. And for the central and southeastern islands on Wednesday, the winds become southeast at 12 to 18 knots, and the wave heights 3 to 6 feet. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance.
They come in my boat, they come in my plane, they coming in wheelchair, I'm walking with cane. They come in my boat, they come in my plane, they coming in wheelchair, I'm walking with cane. Come down and we come in, get in line, get in line.
And that's going to do it for your international temperatures brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But join me at 11 o'clock for a full weather update.
Thanks, Basil. We had superb weather for the Super Bowl yesterday. Not too hot and not too cold. Destiny Reed is filling in for Matea Cunningham. Let's turn things over to her for Let's Talk Socials.
Hey, happy Monday, social media lights. I know it looks a bit different today, but I'm Destiny Reed, and I'll be filling in for Matea Cunningham. Welcome to Let's Talk Socials. Did you watch the Super Bowl last night for the teams, or did you watch it for the halftime show? When Kendrick Lamar took the stage at this year's Super Bowl halftime show, the internet exploded. What started as a highly anticipated performance quickly became the talk of the game. wait, no, scratch that. The talk of the year.
And hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show.
From the moment he stepped onto the field, Kendrick brought his signature energy, effortlessly blending his chart-topping hits with thought-provoking verses that had fans, critics, and social media users alike scrambling to catch every lyric. Check it out.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Bro, I hope this is not his last song.
I thought he was gonna back down a little bit. I didn't think he was gonna drop it.
And the reactions didn't stop there. The hashtag Kendrick Super Bowl became a trending topic almost immediately, flooding social media with live updates, reactions, and high praise for the rap legend. Fans weren't the only ones reacting. Critics have called it groundbreaking, dynamic, and even transformative. With Kendrick's performance, the Super Bowl wasn't just about the game. It became a stage for cultural commentary. So, we turn to you, our viewers, to ask you, did Kendrick Lamar just perform, or did he redefine the halftime show? Once again, my name is Destiny, and you've been watching Let's Talk Socials.
Great job there, Destiny. That does it for Access Now. Make sure to be right back here tomorrow at 7:30. But for now, stay tuned for the rundown with Clint Watson. Good night, everybody.
It's a joy, to help someone who is in need,
I'm proud to know that we are able to accommodate them with a hot meal, fresh meal, and a well-balanced meal.
A lot of our clients, as you know, it's in the inner city, and persons who really include and so much of the loss they do. And for whatever reason, 2 months, 3 months, they really don't have anything.
You have to have some kind of kindness to do this.
What you see on this television station is governed by IRCA's Code of Practice for Content Regulation. The Code of Practice covers matters relating to program content that are of concern to the community, such as local content, news, current affairs, and programs for children, advertising, including political advertisements, and the responsibilities associated with broadcasting in the Bahamas. The code also covers aspects such as access services for the hearing and visually impaired, and the procedure for lodging a complaint about anything broadcasted by this television station. The code is available on IRCA's website at www.ircabahamas.bs. To receive a copy of the code by mail or in person, you may telephone IRCA at 242-393-0234.
In Harbour Island, North Venezuela, I'm Charles Fisher. This is ZNS.
The Rundown is brought to you by Commonwealth Brewery Limited.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's great to have all of you with us again for another week. Well, leading activists are speaking out in response to Friday's news that a man was sentenced to prison for sexually assaulting his 3-year-old twin daughters. And now a group of activists are renewing their calls for more action to be taken to curb what seems to be an alarming trend. Here's Corbell Piper with the story tonight.
Like everyone else, these activists are too outraged by these unspeakable acts committed by this father against his young and vulnerable children. And they say it highlights the need for more dialogue with action on the issue of sexual violence in this country. On Friday, a 37-year-old man was sentenced to 5 years in prison after pleading guilty to molesting his 3-year-old twin daughters. The abuse took place between July 1st to July 30th last year. Leela Green with the Bahamas Crisis Center believes as bad as this ordeal sounds, things could have gotten a lot worse for these children.
When you read the story, you find that there was a lot of dysfunction. A man sleeping with the twins. He was in bed and he slept with them. Whatever is happening in that household, I'm surprised that He only tried to molest them.
The center's director, Sandra Dean Patterson, has been advocating for greater protection against sexual violence for more than 40 years. This latest incident is just a reminder of how much more work is needed. Enough, she says, is enough.
Happy that the government passed the Protection Against Violence Act, but that was 2023. And in that act, they created an instrument that was to bring all of the ministries and all of the stakeholders who work on sexual violence together in a commission. And we had wanted the authority, but they created a commission. And that commission is where we have to come together to address these horrendous things.
And while the public is outraged that this man was only given a 5-year sentence as a result of a plea bargaining, former magistrate Cleopatra Christie says considering the number of criminal cases before the courts, a plea deal might be the best option. It allows victims, she says, to get justice sooner while also sparing them from additional public pain.
The system is overwhelmed with numbers. It's impossible to hear a case where you, for a jury to hear hundreds of cases, it just cannot happen. That's the reality of which we know and which we live in today. So plea bargaining is a very important part of our judicial system.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corvell Pfeiffer.
And that, I think, is probably the biggest point in that story right there. Plea bargaining. You heard former magistrate herself say it. The issue here is you have all of these backlog of cases. When you have all these backlog of cases and you have a jury pool that does not want to hear all of these cases, well, how do you get them through the court system? Well, when people want to take a plea deal, it saves the court time and you take the plea deal. And we understand that may be what took place in this particular case. Also, an important factor that I think we should not overlook that she said, and that is sometimes these deals save the family the trauma and the emotional embarrassment of having to go to court for something like that. And sometimes settling it out of court and there being a plea deal really benefits the family and the victim because they don't want to go through that trauma. They don't want to go through that whole stress and harassment of going through a court case and having to relive and testify and be cross-examined and under the scrutiny. They just prefer not to go through it. And so in the best interest of the children sometimes and the family, and you don't know who's involved because it's a close relative, it's the father, sometimes it's best to settle out of court. But needless to say, the bottom line is we are in a country where there are a lot of sick people. More sick people than I think we want to admit. More people that have challenges mentally than we want to accept. And a lot of times we turn and close our eyes against it, turn a deaf ear towards it because we don't want to accept the reality that there are some people that need help in this country. I've said it repeatedly. We need help when it comes to mental illness. I still don't believe we have enough professionals in this country to handle the amount of cases and people who are dealing and struggling with mental illness. And you say, why do we talk about mental illness? Because it takes somebody who is struggling mentally to commit these kinds of crimes. Normal people can't do that. People in their right mind won't, normal fathers who love their children won't do that. You just won't do it. So if you're gonna find yourself in that kind of predicament, something is going on that you need help for. And people around you ought to be able to detect, hopefully, that there is an issue going on and to fix it. It is so unfortunate that these little precious darlings have to begin their life like that. The question is, how many more people are out there involved in the same kinds of things? We need help in our society. We need to take action. And the best way we can take an action is people who are around the homes and around these people that have challenges to be able to see these warning signs and not ignore it. Take it serious and address it. I don't care if you need the rent. I don't care if he's providing the food. I don't care if he's even paying the school fee. Wrong is wrong, and we need to not close our eyes to it. We need to speak up to it because we are harming innocent lives. Enough said on that. I want to get to a more positive story tonight and more positive news. If you open yourself to the world, they say the world opens itself to you. And that's exactly what the Nassau Airport Development Company is hoping will happen in the end. You see, we're hosting this week airport, aviation, and destination stakeholders in a 3-day conference on the way forward. Now, Felicity Darville has the details of the opening of the Routes Americas 2025 conference taking place this week at the Atlantis Paradise Island Resort. I want you to watch this report, and then we'll come back and talk about why this is so important to us. Take a look.
The aviation industry echoing the success of the tourism industry with record-breaking numbers in 2024. President and CEO of the Nassau Airport Development Company, Vernice Walking, sharing that Nassau's capacity reached 3 million departure seats in 2024. That's 7% higher than the previous year. Officials are scouting this conference to create more opportunities for point-to-point sales.
We're finding that the connections through hubs, through the airline hubs, puts enormous pressure on our airport, particularly between the hours of 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. And we're finding that the degree to which we can look at point-to-point service where we don't have to worry about people missing connections because we have nonstop flights from major gateways will serve us as an airport extremely well.
And airports across the Bahamas are experiencing infrastructural development to meet growing air traffic demands, according to Tourism Director General Latia Duncombe.
The Family Islands Renaissance Progress Project is modernizing airports in Eleuthera, Exuma, Long Island, and providing improvements in other critical locations to accommodate growing air traffic so that larger aircraft support can continue. We've also seen the expansion, the $2 million renovated Great Harbor Key International Airport in the Berry Islands that was recently completed.
And even though Lyndon Pindling International can be considered a small to medium-sized airport, Ms. Joaquin has big plans to lead the NAD team to a lofty 5-star rating.
The key is the journey to 5-star. It's going to take us some time to get to 5-star, but in getting to 5-star, we will be making improvements all along the way, and that's what's exciting for us.
And with Routes America 2025 hosted right here in the Bahamas with over 1,000 executives at play, the country expects to take an even bigger piece of the aviation pie in 2025. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Felicity Darville.
All right, so that's a good problem here. Here's the issue. The issue is we have all of these flights that want to now operate to the Bahamas, but the challenge is they're all operating at the same time. So, for example, between 11 and, let's say, 6, everybody wants to fly to the Bahamas. And so what NAD is trying to do, which I totally agree with, is be able to get people to want to operate flights maybe a little earlier or a little later into the Bahamas. Now, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't you like to be able to go to work all day, get off, and be able to take a 10 o'clock flight to Miami? Makes sense, right? It's a half-hour away. Why can't we have a late-night flight to Miami? Why can't we have a late-night flight to Atlanta? Why can't we have a late-night flight to Washington, D.C.? So being able to get people to operate flights, particularly direct flights, later in the day and use up more of the time in the nighttime so that NAD airport schedule won't be as hectic. Everybody trying to come to the tarmac at the same time, no gates available because everybody's on the ground. Doesn't make much sense, right? But it's a good problem because as NAD expands, they want to be able to get more of these airline companies to fly later routes or earlier routes. They're also looking to get more of these companies to fly direct routes so that people don't have to miss connecting flights because we have a lot of hubs that are coming to the Bahamas. And when I say hubs, what that means is a lot of airlines who are flying to their hub and then connecting to the Bahamas. So that means people end up missing their connections or always having to take a connection to and from the Bahamas. So if we get more direct flights, people can get later flights, easier flights, not miss flights, because it is a direct flight rather than a connecting flight. So it's a good problem, and I think it's great that NAD, Vernice Walking, she's a brilliant, smart woman, especially when it comes to the travel and tourism aviation industry. She understands it. She understands the science, and she recognizes some of the strongest airports around the world are those that operate flights later in the evening so that people can get off from work and fly in late at night or fly out late at night. Certainly would be like that here in the Bahamas. Instead of everything coming to a stop or halt around 6, 7 o'clock, all the flights are gone, the airport's empty. Why waste our brand new airport? We're expanding. Let's have more flights. How many of you agree with that? Let's have more flights into the night so you can work a full day and drive to the airport safely and then take a night flight out and be in Florida or be somewhere in the U.S. by midnight. So that's a good problem. Hopefully, they'll get these companies, these U.S. companies, to agree with them and be able to actually do that. All right? So that's a good story there. We're going to follow this conference all week and see exactly what the reaction is to that, and if we can be successful in getting some of these major carriers to not only operate direct flights, but also to operate flights outside of that regular 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. schedule and use our airports around the clock and around the day. Good stuff there. Well, we're going to go to a break. When we come back tonight, an exclusive interview with the newly re-elected premier of the Turks and Caicos Islands, Washington Missick. We'll talk to him right after the break. He joins us live from the TCI. And a little later, big things happening. They say big things are going. That ain't Bahamian. But big things happening in Nassau Village. The MP is here to talk all about it. You're watching The Rundown. We're back after this. Stay close.
Since a young girl, I always loved watching the women come in and get their hair done, commune together with everybody. I grew a great appreciation for that. I always had a great love for making women feel beautiful and just the atmosphere of a beauty salon. Hi, my name is Asia Cartwright, and I'm a hairstylist at the Glow Bar in Old Fort Bay. I enjoyed accounting. I did it professionally for a few years. After the pandemic, I decided to take a leap of faith, go off to school in Atlanta at Aveda Institute to learn the science behind hair, because I realized this is my passion. This is something that I really wanted to do, but I wanted to understand the real depth of, okay, why does hair do this? Why is it responding this way? What do I need to do to help someone get on their best hair journeys? It's not been easy. When it's fueled by passion, you always have an extra push and motivation to just try harder. It's being fueled from your heart space. I enjoy making women feel beautiful. I enjoy being a listening ear. It's more than hair, it's like therapy. We all leave leaving lighter. For women that are, facing some type of fear, that want to change their path and careers, I would say do it. I trusted God because I don't feel like he would have given me the vision and the dreams if it wasn't for me. It doesn't matter what no one says. It doesn't matter, how it looks from the outside. And I'm going to give it my all, and that's what I do.
To learn more about the Women Entrepreneurs Initiative, visit our website or contact us at 461-7232. And remember, empowered women empower women.
You've set big goals for your future, and we can help you to achieve them. Getting that degree you've always wanted, buying your first car, making it official on a truly special day, or building a home that's your own. Big or small, share your ambitions with us, and we can help make them real.
Here at Immigration Care Service, you can trust us, especially if you have experienced issues or problems with the U.S. immigration at the borders. We'll do our best to provide options and solutions to immigration roadblocks, so travelers can continue visiting the U.S. and residents can continue living their lives in the U.S. without worries. The best part? Our services are affordable and accessible. Take the mystery, confusion, and fear out of your immigration concerns. Contact Immigration Care Service today.
Welcome back to The Rundown. A special good night to all of you in the lines in on Facebook. I see you. And those of you watching by YouTube, thank you for joining us. And those of you watching by your cable providers, or even those of you watching on the Turks and Caicos Islands, thank you so much for joining us. Well, the Progressive National Party has once again emerged victorious in the Turks and Caicos Islands 2025, the general election, securing a dominant 16-3 seat win over the opposition. Premier Charles Washington Missick and his party will return to lead the nation for the next 5 years. Our ZNS News team was on the ground in the Turks and Caicos all last week covering the campaign and the elections. Rumiko Knowles picks up the story from here.
As election results trickled in Friday night, anticipation grew at both parties' headquarters. However, celebration erupting at the PNP headquarters as it became clear that they secured the majority vote. Side of the headquarters, Premier Missick expressing his gratitude to the people of Turks and Caicos for their support and confidence in his leadership.
I am so grateful. I want you to remember that we would not have gotten here without the help of the good Lord. So I say, bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name.
Those celebrating the victory were PNP campaign manager Jawan Harvey and communications specialist Omega Simmons, both visibly elated.
It's an island, except Cayman. So I think any good victory, it's must start with a good team. And that's why I asked the young lady beside me to join me. Her name is Omega Simmons.
It's been an exhilarating ride, Romiko. This party has done an amazing amount for its people, for this country over the last 4 years. And it has been an honor to be able to bring that to the forefront.
Meanwhile, at the People's Democratic Movement headquarters, the mood was drastically different. Supporters appeared somber and visibly distraught. Now on Saturday morning, Premier Mizik and his Deputy Premier, Jamel Robinson, were officially sworn in, marking the beginning of their new term in office.
We had a clear message to the people. We have a record that we ran on, and we have great plans for the future.
I feel that we've been vindicated because we knew we've put in the work, as we stated in our last campaign.
With elections now concluded, the focus shifts to governance as the PNP prepares to implement its new agenda for the next 5 years. From Turks and Caicos for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Romiko Knowles.
Thanks a lot, Romiko. Well, joining me live tonight, fresh off his victory, is the Premier of the Turks and Caicos Islands, Charles Washington Mizik. Premier, good to have you. Congratulations on your victory at the polls. Premier, are you there?
I am here. I am here.
Great.
Can you hear me?
I can absolutely hear you. Your response to that landslide victory at the polls, that was not close at all. Your party went in and won all except for 3 seats. Your response on such a big margin in your victory?
I think a lot had to do with the fact that we made promises to our voters in 2021, February 21, and we've delivered. And what we have not been able to deliver, it's in the process of being delivered. We're focused on people, and ultimately that is what wins elections, in my view. We've went out of our way to protect people and to protect their livelihoods. And they paid us at the polls.
What do you say is your focus now that you've been reelected? What is the focus that your government is immediately looking to address?
The Turks and Caicos is a young democracy, a young country. It has come in 50 years where it's taken a lot of countries to come in centuries. So we've got a booming economy here, but truth be told, the economy has outgrown the social development of TCI. So my government focus really is on people development, focusing on the human development index, so to speak. And so everything we do will be focused on developing our people. But in order to do that, one needs to have a successful economy. And so we're looking at investing heavily in the social development of our people, such as education, healthcare, developing safe communities, we face a housing crisis, investing money in that sector, but also ensuring that we have an investment-friendly climate. We have close to $4 billion in the investment pipeline. What I often say is that we have a triple bottom line focus, which is on the economy, the social development, and the environment itself. Those are the sort of umbrella issues or umbrella pillars that we are building our economy and our country on at the moment.
Premier, are there issues from your prior term that you want to be able to address in this term that you're not able to get to?
There are always issues that are projects that are lagging. Like a lot of countries, we find that the procurement process here in the TCI means that we have not been able to deliver some of our major public sector investment projects on time. We also have capacity issues, both in terms of human resources, particularly in that regard. So the focus is going to be on how we can make the necessary changes without sacrificing transparency in the area of procurement and the whole area of planning and the implementation of major projects. You know, we've got on the books at the moment development of a major airport terminal and ancillary facilities, perhaps amounting to somewhere in the region of $400 million. And we have looking at major road infrastructure, including linking the Caicos Islands together through a causeway. So these are big projects that we are looking to implement over the next 5 years. But as I say also, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. I was about to say, you're talking about a 5-year term. Your administration will be actually the first to serve a 5-year term instead of the usual 4-year term, thanks to an act of Parliament. How do you think this is going to impact your term in office? And I think you started speaking toward that.
Well, it would do it in 2 ways. Because this is our second term in office, we can hit the ground running so that we can utilize our entire 5 years. If we were starting out afresh, then it would be a learning curve. But there's no learning curve, so we can hit the road running. And with the extra 5 years, we will be able to deliver so much more. And so we're glad that we have been able to negotiate this extended term in our most recent constitutional amendments.
At a time when governments are losing re-elections and are being held accountable for either the rise in the cost of living or other economic challenges, why do you believe your administration was re-elected?
I'm glad you asked the question because in the polls taken here in the Turks and Caicos, cost of living was indeed the second most important issue. And what we have been able to do is monitor the cost of living. And over the last 4 years, we've supplemented that cost of living by giving concessions on a number of things, including on electricity when it was necessary, but providing relief on persons, people who are building homes for the first time, and a lot of other types of support. We are supporting the elderly by a minimum pension of $1,000 a month, persons over 70. We have increased the the minimum wage to $8.25.
Wow.
And we've also provided support for preschool, daycare, and after school. So a single parent take-home pay, when it's packaged together with those concessions, the actual sort of a package is stretched. And we've done a lot of other given a lot of other social benefits, including 3 stimulus packages, and 1 cost of living allowance over the last 4 years. And so I think people see that we've been making every attempt to reduce their cost of living, including removing duty entirely of the basic basket of goods that every household would need to consume.
Definitely some good initiatives there. Well, I can't let you go before without asking you, obviously, about the Bahamas. Anything on the drawing board? I know there's always been the solidification of our relationship in Turks and Caicos Islands. So many Bahamians are there dwelling and living there. Recently, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs kind of put an even stronger presence there with the honorary consul for Turks and Caicos Islands with a plan to hopefully open up a consul office there. What are your plans for tightening that bond with the Bahamas? Anything in the drawing board?
Well, if you know, 2 years ago now, I believe it's been, we opened an office in the Bahamas.
Correct.
Nassau.
Yes.
To deepen and widen our friendship, but also facilitate Turks and Caicos Bahamians to be able to process things like land papers and birth certificates, and looking at how they can obtain or process their status application for Turks and Caicos Island status. We want to, the Bahamas is our closest neighbors, and I dare to say our best friends, and we collaborate in many ways, and we will continue to do so. So I can see a situation eventually where that relationship grows to the extent that the sort of a movement of people between the islands are more flexible and more fluid. But just deepening the relationship generally, I think there are things that we could partnership on, which would save the Turks and Caicos Islands government money, and also the Bahamas, given the fact that we're somewhere between 40 and 60 miles away from the most southern Bahama Islands. You know, I think we have to find ways to collaborate to the advantage of both ourselves and the Bahamas.
Premier, if I may ask, I think if I remember clearly, you had an opposition in the last term of, was it one?
Yeah, we had an opposition of, what I can say is that we've had a constitutional amendment in the last constitution under which we won government in 2021. There were 15 elected members of the House and 4 appointed members. 1 member was appointed from each of the political parties and 2 by the governor. So as we move towards a true democracy and towards political independence eventually, it's important that we have a parliament that is made up only of persons that are elected by the people of these islands. So that is one of the major changes in the Constitution. We now have 19 elected seats in the House, and that is why the difference between the 14-1 last time, and now we have 16 to 3, 2 of them being opposition from the opposition party and 1 as an independent.
Premier, have you named your cabinet as yet? Or will the same cabinet be reinstated?
I haven't named the cabinet yet, and so I'm not able to tell you. I think it would be largely consistent of many of the members who were previously in cabinet, but there's also the potential that there will be others. But that we're going through that process at the moment.
All right, well, thank you. Premier, it's always a pleasure talking with you. Congratulations again, and of course, we look forward to continued partnership with you. Thank you, sir, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Clint. It's my pleasure. Good luck, take care. Good night.
God bless. And still to come tonight, Member of Parliament for Nassau Village. He's here to talk about some big community initiatives in his constituency. Is it winning the support of the people who live there? Is it actually working? We'll find out right after the break. Stay close.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting TingsyBahamas.com.
Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we have been in Exuma now for the past 4 years, carrying out our paving program. A part of our company's philosophy is to do some work to international standards. So when you look at our paving division, we have a state-of-the-art lab to do all of our testing in-house, as well as a state-of-the-art asphalt plant with a trained technician carrying out the work on that site. The overarching goal of our company is to produce the work that we're doing in the entire Bahamas to international standards. We also make a difference by the training of our staff. We have a very intensive training program going on to where we are teaching young men how to learn the art of striping. Being a young man myself, I've made mistakes in the past. I was given a second chance to better my life, and it's only fitting that we pass it along. What's important for us is giving them a second chance for them to get a skill and a career that could take them further in life.
In 2023, over 9 million visitors came to the Bahamas, the region's leading tourism destination. That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Paradise is not only found in Nassau, but throughout our 16 island destinations.
That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Over 400,000 Bahamians depend on our tourism-driven economy.
That is why tourism is everyone's business. It's the passing on of our traditions and our cultural heritage to the next generation.
That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Tourism is everyone's business.
From the straw we plant, to exploring our Bahama blues, to experiencing the greatest show on earth. No matter who you are, we all have a part to play in our tourism industry.
This is our country.
These are our islands.
This is our home.
That's why tourism
is everyone's business.
Welcome back. Well, big things are reportedly happening in the community of Nassau Village. From a brand new state-of-the-art community center to major community projects, Member of Parliament Jamal Strawn is not allowing his parliamentary secretary job at Foreign Affairs to keep him away from working in his community. He joins me live tonight to talk about his success. Welcome. Good to have you, sir.
It's nice to
Welcome
be
to
here.
right now. I have to say that because, you know, most people are so consumed with their government job that communities go unattended.
Well, the reality is that I'm here by request of the people, right? So my first job is always to the constituents of Nassau Village.
Good place to be.
My parliamentary portfolios follow that suit. So yeah, of course I have to do my day one job first, and my second.
As the people, or you want that job, not the people. So let's talk about it, because people have been talking about the success that you've been having, and what I like about it is sometimes we're not the most vocal about it, but we're on the ground working. And when you look and say, well, what has he been doing? And I look at the list that was sent to me, and I'm like, okay, he might have been quiet, but he's been working. Let's talk about it. In 2021, road reconstruction, road markings and pedestrian crossings and placement of bins. Talk a little bit about what you met and why that was necessary.
So when I started off as an aspirant, right, one thing that we saw was the complete deterioration of the main thoroughfares in Nassau Village. Potholes, 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 right? So I said, as soon as I get in, I would petition the Ministry of Works, and we had Nassau Village Taylor Street completely repaved, Alexandria Boulevard completely repaved within 4 months.
Wow.
We were compared to the airport road. You had Bahamians saying, we prefer drive through Nassau Village to get to Pinewood, to get to South Beach, and this occurred within the first 3 months.
So why couldn't it be done before?
Well, you know, I don't know the energy that the former MP had.
Okay.
But I know I always speak to the young, energetic nature of myself and what I bring to it. Maybe, you know, I petition people. I go to people's offices. You
ain't gonna stop till that happen.
No, I can't afford to. Because the one thing that constituents and the electorate ask is, well, what have you done, right? So I wanted to start off and then that first 3-4 months of producing for them and just carry it straight through.
And then we saw, of course, the road markings and pedestrian crossings. I always think pedestrian crossings are so necessary, particularly in community where you have people living. People are walking to get to and fro, and they need to be able to cross the street. These are things that we look at and say, oh, I know competition, but these are things that if you don't have it, it makes it so dangerous.
Absolutely.
And then placement of bins. Talk about that.
Well, one thing that we met was an abundance of just garbage. Bahamians complained that the island itself was just completely unkept. We had derelict vehicles, we had mass dumping, and so we started this implementation of 40-foot bins throughout the constituency. You don't have to bear the burden of going to the dump. We'll put the bins there and you dump inside the bins and let us handle it.
Wow.
Now we've gotten to a nice stable level where the entire community is looking better. You would notice as you traverse the thoroughfares, the entire island is being beautified. That national beautification campaign is on its way, and you just have a cleaner, prettier, more beautified island.
And people don't understand, but it does do something to the mental state.
Yes.
When you see your environments are cleaner and beautified, it gives you a different whole persona to your community and how you act in the community. Let's talk about what you did in 2022. 2022 greenhouse installation. Yeah. Talk about that.
I forgot about the greenhouse installation. So we partnered with the Embassy of China in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources to procure one of the greenhouses that would have been issued to the Bahamas. And we installed it in Sadie Curtis Primary. Now, what that did, or what I was aiming to do, was trying to cultivate a spirit of food security and really draw the attention away from the traditional occupations and professions and say, hey, if you come from an inner city area, you can be a farmer. And that's where it started. So they would have started a greenhouse club, and they're growing tomatoes, they're growing lettuce, and it's in an attempt to achieve food security nationally, but we have to implement it from early childhood, early generation.
And how's that been received? How's it been responded to?
Well, it's going off. You know, the principal at Sadie Curtis has taken it up, and I thank the principal for, you know, encouraging it. But there needs to be more expertise injected into it. Persons who have a thorough knowledge. I've spoken to experts to actually come in and try to construct an after-school program to allow for more involvement. So there's still more work to be done on that particular front, but the initiative is created and off and running, and that's the most important.
We talk about food security and how important it is. We talk about how it really could help with the cost of living and buying grocery.
Yeah.
If you don't have to buy certain things that you can now produce, it saves money.
Absolutely.
Is this something that you think you can put into your community and into your home? Backyard farming has always been something that's been trying to get into homes. So I keep on saying I don't know how many Bahamians want to go and farm in the backyard, but those who do it save money in the fruit and vegetable aisle.
Yeah, gold peppers, lettuce, head of lettuce, iceberg lettuce. I think it was about 3 years ago. There was a shortage of iceberg lettuce on the island.
Correct.
Right? And it's something that can be produced domestically. So my thing is, if we can start to get Bahamians to grow these 30-day cash crops, if we can get that mindset to, I can produce this and it saves me from having to buy, ultimately saving on tariffs for imports, then we'll have a lowest cost of living. But it has to be done nationally, and it has to be done in a more directed and intentional way. And that's all you see that I'm trying to do in Nassau Village.
Greenhouse installation, main water line change. Talk to me about the main water line.
So Nassau Villagers complained to me that there was brown water coming out of the pipes because they were still using I think the galvanized or iron pipes that corrode over time and have sediment buildup. So whenever you turn on the faucet and there's a brown tinge or a smell, that's because the pipes need to be cleaned. So of course, me being diligent, I wrote to Water and Sewage, and the chairman, Sylvanus Petty at the time, acted immediately. He said, we're going to extract all of the water mains. We're going to replace them with the PVC piping to allow for just clean water throughout Nassau Village. And of course, there's like a cost of about $3,000 to $5,000 if you do it independently. So I encourage my constituents that while the main line was open, to take advantage of it, tie in for free. Let's save money and let's, you know, just get a more healthier water treatment system that is the city water into the homes of each and every Nassau villager. And it took off with great success.
Wow, so you now have clean water rather than this red, brown, and rusty water.
Throughout most of the community.
That's better in most areas. A lot of areas don't have that. Okay, vacant lots clear. That's always something that the people are concerned about, especially when you're talking about crime. And derelict vehicles removed, overgrown trees removed. Why was this initiative important?
Because I come from an urban area. I come from Red Lion Acres, Soldier Road, and we understand that how does the criminal element thrive? They thrive from derelict vehicles. That's where I stash my guns. That's where I stash my drugs. How does the criminal element thrive? I get away through the shortcut that the police don't know about or that they're unsure which way to navigate. So, okay, let me help everybody out. We've pushed down all of those lots. So it's clear visibility. We've removed the derelict vehicles. So you can store your guns, your drugs, and, you know, rats and everything. The environmental side come with it. And we've been doing this for 3 years. And now you see a formalized response to the same thing that we have been doing, which is now the National Security Stop, Hold, and Build initiative. And it's just falling in line with what Nassau Village has already been implementing and executing over the last 3 years.
That's very commendable. Basketball court restoration. Of course, we like our communities to have, you know, our people like to play basketball.
Recreation is the thing. It's a scientifically proven fact that the more you can have the generations recreate, the less time they have for gang recruitment and for vices, just involved in idle lands is the devil's, you know, workplace. So I created a basketball and multi-sport facility in the community of Red Lion Acres, a community that I came from, because they would not go all the way to Nassau Village, to that basketball court. So, you know, we did that initiative so that that community can actually recreate in safety and in peace. And if you pass Clint, on that basketball court on any afternoon, you have at minimum 50 to 60 kids under 15, you know.
Wow.
Under 15, not in your homes, not in your cars, but actually just recreating, having fun, a good old time, producing healthy Bahamians.
You've cleared drains. That must be a big thing, because flooding is our big concern in this capital.
Yeah.
And drains we're flooding because a lot of the drains weren't cleared.
Yeah. The PM has always spoken about climate change.
Yeah.
It's a reality that by extension, we cannot change, but we can try our best to adapt and attempt to mitigate. So the reality is we cannot stop the water from falling. No MP can do it. No government can do it.
Right.
And to install an extensive pipe work to connect to canals and do these things, we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, but the water will come back because there's spring tide, there's king tides, and all of these things. So I told my constituents, in particular, on the southern boundary near Sir Lyndon Pinland Estates, Mangrove Street, that we will work together to just ensure the drains are clear to provide some relief. It will not stop it because that's reclaimed land that we filled in. But as your member of parliament and as their member of parliament, I made a commitment that we would do as much as we can to ensure as much relief as possible until we can fix the problem.
Good stuff. Tablets giveaway. What are you giving away tablets to? I tell you.
Well, the tablets distribution was an early onset. It was on the heels of COVID, when we didn't know the COVID lockdowns. It was to ensure that Nassau villages had connectivity. Right? It was to ensure that, in a fun way, we had a tablet distribution competition.
Good stuff.
Where Nassau, because I don't like to just give away free things. Put young people to work, put it in competition form, and watch them thrive. And that's what that initiative was about. Simply just having some technology for them to recreate with.
So let's go to 2023. Installation of high-powered solar lights.
Yeah. So for 40 years, the residents in Gleniston Gardens on the most eastern side, which is the Seabury side, complained about not having street lights because the power supply was behind the homes, right? And they said, Mr. Strawn, we have no complaints. We can take care of ourselves. We don't need food assistance. We don't need anything outside of the government providing street lights. And I spoke to BPL executives, and I spoke to some experts in the field about how can we run it. They gave me a timeline that I just wasn't comfortable with, right? So we looked to see how we could be ingenious about it, really put that millennial brain to work. So we installed 150 industrial strength dusk to dawn streetlights, completely fabricated. I think they're about 5 foot tall. And I did a comparison with one of the news reporters, so you can see that it's not a team, you know, they cracked the joke, Timu, right? It's not something you can buy off of Amazon or readily get, right? This is an industrial size, fabricated solar street light that is now doing exactly what it needs to do, provide consistent light and giving a sense of security to those communities, ensuring for that community in particular, they feel safe, they know their MP is listening, and it's just a brighter day.
Clearing legal dumping, clearing vacant lots. You've been doing it.
Yeah, trying my best.
Computer distributions in some of the schools in your constituency, multi-sport facility, Redland Acres.
Yeah. We talked about that.
And of course, the big thing, the Nassau Village Community Center.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that when I come back from a break. You've been doing a lot. This is only 2023, 2022, 2021. So I'm going to see what's happening in 2024. I'm going to take a break and we'll come right back with the member Pollen for Nassau Village. You're watching The Rundown. Back after this.
Hi, I'm Brent Burrows, Vice President of Retail and Sales at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store. Not only do we guarantee the best prices on all your favorite building materials, but we're proud to offer the best delivery program in all of Nassau. Whether you buy 1 box of screws or a truckload of plywood, island-wide delivery is just $5. And for our Family Island customers, we're proud to offer complimentary drop-off to the mailboat of your choice. Visit us today at the CBS Pro Store on Robinson Road and check out our website to set up your next delivery.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this bring great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community. Also help with the education of our kids in this community and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahamas Pipe and the Bahamian Company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
Welcome to What's Trending. Join me, Jiminita Swain.
And me, The Bahama Beauty, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m.
Only on the ZNS Network.
Fashion was something that I've always loved. I always, as a child, loved to see women just impeccably dressed. But my thing was drawing the looks and mixing colors, and fashion was in my blood. I put my personality into my passion. Well, the fabric of hope was inspired by my father. My father had cancer, and I would go with him to treatments and seeing everybody just look despondent and dreary. And I was like, wow, like God, like, I'm only a fashion designer. Like, what can I do to assist these people? I know God had me to create it to inspire persons with cancer or any illness that there's hope. It's been in my heart for a couple of days to speak to the older women who may feel that I'm 40, what can I do? I'm 50, what can I do? And that's when the fire in us kicks in. So take that idea that God has given you and put it to use. This is where it all begins.
Empowered women empower women.
Welcome back to the Rundown. My guest is, of course, a member of Parliament for Nassau Village, Jamal Strawn, talking about some of the work he's been doing. And we've been counting from 2021, 2022, 2023. And for those who missed it, I'll tell you it again. Road reconstruction, road markings for pedestrian crossings, placement of bins, greenhouse insulation, main water line change, vacant lots cleared, derelict vehicles removed, overgrown trees removed, basketball court restoration, drain cleared, tablets giveaway, installation high-powered solar lights, clearing illegal dumping, clearing vacant lots, computer distribution in several schools, multi-sports facility, Redland Acres, and then, of course, that showstopper, that showpiece that's the envy of every constituency, the Nassau Village Community Center. My God, with a report card like this, Jesus, have mercy.
Yeah.
Congratulations, because this is what representation should look like.
Absolutely.
When you elect somebody to serve, you elect them to do that. Make your community a better place.
Yes.
And that's exactly what it should be all about. Congratulations on this. Your community center, I'm sure you're excited about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful.
I'm ecstatic. It was birthed out of a dream that I had years ago, and it came to fruition in under 3 years.
Under 3 years?
Under 3 years. I assumed the role in September 2021. I announced it in 2022, and we opened it, soft opening last year, December 2024.
Wow.
And now 2025, it will be staffed by Nassau Villages and offering services and piloting what the government wants to see replicated throughout each community in Nassau Village, one of one. Right? So it's something I am proud of, and I hope that my constituents are equally as proud, because it's for them. It's not my building, it's their building.
What I found impressive, before the break, you were talking about the solar-powered lights in Gleniston Gardens, and that's obviously one of the middle-class areas in our country. And so often, members of Parliament focus only on one section. The hurting section, the section that needs help, and forget that part of their constituency may be a section where the middle class live, that may not have those direct needs, but they want to see representation. You are ensuring that all of Nassau Village, the middle class, the struggling class, whatever class you fall in, everyone is getting a piece of the pie and seeing representation.
Yeah, it's essential that you be, like you said, inclusive and considerate of each community's needs. It's not cliche, one size doesn't fit all.
Right.
The same things that I would give to one particular community, the next community doesn't need. Right. But it doesn't mean that they don't have their intricate needs, their specialized needs. So speed bumps are a major requirement for that upper middle class, and those will be coming this year. You get me? Street signage. We will petition Ministry of Works to have them reinstalled. Me and my team continue to work for each and every Nassau villager, and I just wanted them to know that and understand that the work never stops, no days off.
This is your first time in politics?
It's my first time.
And you mind me say your age?
No.
36 years old.
36.
First time in politics, and yet you're seeing this kind of success in a constituency that has all cross sections of society in it.
Yeah.
What's the key to this kind of success?
Energy, God above all, a strong family support system, and a team that understands that it isn't about financial gain. A team that goes out with you, lifts the tables with you. You don't have to pay them each and every time something happens. And I truly am thankful for all of the hard work that my team gives to me and the support they put behind me. And the most I can do, well, the least I can do, is to be a good representative that they can tout and they can be proud of. So it's all because of God, my family, and my team.
What do you say to people who say, well, he ain't doing nothing?
Well, you know, that's the thing Bahamians say. I ain't see him.
Right.
He ain't do nothing. You can't eat roads. You can't eat buildings. You can't eat food. But then you ask yourself, what has been happening in the community for the last 10 years?
Right.
Look at me, not because of the young face in front of you, but look at your community. Is there a drastic change? Can you go into your community and say, boy, this is significantly better than it was 5 years ago? And that's how I think you should choose your representative. That's the grading card, the standard that I hold myself against. What has happened 2-3 years ago? Do we go back to hand pumps, red hand pumps, and seeds in bags? That was our reality.
Wow. Right?
That was the last representative's thing that he did for the community. And now you have a multi-million-dollar building. You have multi-million dollars of injection in this urban area without a minister. So what do you expect will happen 2026? There's nothing more that we can give outside of simply coming to your door, which I will be doing, increased. Just to ask you, what do you think?
Are you an MP who can go into your community now and ask people to vote for you? Or you one who, you know, some people, I have to ask, some people can't go in their community. If they go in their community, they can get around or they can get a pocket of rock. Because they ain't been nowhere the whole time. They ain't do nothing the whole time, now they coming to ask. Are you one who can boldly walk in Nassau Village and say, listen, I want to ask for your support again?
I can confidently say that I can, and I will. You know, I can and I will. I have chosen Nassau Village constituency from day one, and I'm choosing them again, and I hope that they choose me. The reality is that my work speaks for itself. It's not braggadocious, because you haven't seen me or heard from me for the last 3 years, simply because I put together a portfolio that speaks for itself, that we can now come to your door. What have you done? Here's my report card. You tell me, was it enough? And we go from there.
Listen, congratulations. I believe that we need more community leaders who are not talking the talk, but walking the walk, and actually carrying out the action. And if this list is anything close to what you have done, then you've done it. Congratulations to you. Thank you for coming to the rundown. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. But you got here, and at least you got something to brag about, rather than people coming and talk about. Congratulations to you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. That does it for the rundown. Be sure to stay locked on the ZNS Network for the Bahamas tonight at 11. It's the final newscast in the country with the latest news and information with Royston Jones. He's in the house preparing for the 11 o'clock news. For all of us here at ZNS, I'm Clint Watson. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
At the House of Assembly, I'm Lakush Lapinder. This is ZNS.
With your brother. But I'm sorry, Brad. It just happened.
So did Pearl Harbor, Monica. So did Pearl Harbor.
So, Claire, what are you doing watching that junk? That's Brad. His wife slept with his brother at the same time his sister was killed in a car accident. They're looking for a replacement surrogate.